Cool. I think we can go ahead and get started. I think today, I mean, if we go the full hour, I'll be surprised. Horizontal scrolling might sound like a really hard thing to do. Nice thing is in Vev, it's actually pretty simple. So what I want to do first is I kind of want to go over, just like we did last time with the New York Times piece, like what we're building today and why we're building it. And that kind of starts all from inspiration. So you guys saw that in essentially our in social and like on Discord, we were really inspired by Mailchimp's latest annual report from 2020. So we're kind of doing this like weird like retake on it. So you'll see a lot of stats that we kind of emailed out in our Vev newsletter about our 2020 stats, and we're kind of just taking that and kind of using the Mailchimp cool like annual report horizontal scroll. So what I'll do first is I'll just take you guys through some of that and like what's happening. So I don't think the animations are going to be perfect in this. But if you guys haven't seen this, this is MailChimp's 2020 annual report. They do some really great annual reports. They're known for it. Their last one was amazing. This one is amazing. And the cool thing with this is it's all horizontal scroll, and it's this kind of like wonderland of things happening. So you have this character that's following around the screen that's in a fixed position, and just having this narrative unfold with all these really interesting stats kind of flowing through while you do it. Now, as you can imagine, this was pretty intensive in terms of like the design overall. So you can see there's a lot happening here. And I kind of want to break down how they did it. And then I'll kind of show you how we're kind of accomplishing it in Vev. But really, if you guys, Inspector is going to be your best friend. So, if you kind of look around the screen and if you just inspect, you can kind of break apart the layers. You'll see these storyboard divs and things like that kind of come out, and you'll see these assets. So I already did a little detective work, and I was looking at kind of the assets they had. So they had a background and a foreground, and this is a ton of work. I don't think we're going to do anything like this today, but it's interesting to see how somebody else does it, and then see how we can visually build it. Excuse me. So this is the background for the Mailchimp piece, and what we're seeing here is it's kind of just broken up, and really what they're doing is they're just doing some really creative work with divs and then adding this foreground to it, and you're traveling through this space, which is really cool. It's just two layers on top of each other essentially, and that lends to this very nice fluid horizontal scroll piece. Now there's like other ones out there we've all seen, and I highly recommend going on awards if you're looking for inspiration. This is the main place I go. And I just typed in horizontal, for instance. And so we're seeing a lot of different takes on it. And one of my personal favorite takes is this canals piece. And it's an amazing piece. I absolutely love it. I'm actually not gonna open it up because it might break the stream. It might be a little bit too intensive for my computer, because of all the other things I have going on. But there was about a time when I was first learning Vev where I just wanted to see if I could recreate it. And so this was like my take on it. This was my original horizontal scrolling piece. And I cannot say it enough. I just wanted to say a big shout out to Vic. He really was the guy that made this happen. He was the first person to put an MVP of the horizontal scroll out there, and then just further refined it from there. So this is, again, this is sort of the horizontal scroll piece for canals, and this is looking at canals in Amsterdam and like a whole overview. And you can see this lends well to if you're thinking about doing visual storytelling or an editorial piece or something like that. So again, the animations are coming crazy fluid just because my computer's having a hard time. So yeah, this was all done visually. It was pretty cool, and you can kind of see all the way through. So we're going to start. It's really simple. Vic, I cannot say enough like how simple this is. But we're just going to type in horizontal scroll, and so you can put it under section or just in popular. And we're just going to take it and we're going to add the section. And now what we have is basically a div that scrolls horizontally. Of course, with one block or one section, it's not going to do it. This is because you only have one. So we're going to copy and paste this a few times. All right. So now there's one interesting note, like we're always improving the product, as you know. I would say if you have any glitches or anything at this stage, for instance, if you notice when you preview, this might be easier. So I'll change the background so you can see. Yeah, I'll do that way. So you'll see like this is still scrolling vertical. All you need to do to fix that is basically reload your canvas. And then once you do that, it'll scroll horizontal. Great. So a few things still apply, and I'll kind of just start building our scene when we get into it. So I have my colors saved here, and I'm just going to add them to my canvas. Again, this is just the foundational work we all know and all love because it's super easy in Vev. I'm just going to start saving my colors or my swatches. And in a further, I think in another tutorial, we'll go through how to create a design system in Vev. We're really just scratching the surface. There's so much you can do. You can change your whole palette colors. You can create shared styles. You can even do main components if you're really building out a full website. But for now, we'll just kind of do it the easy way, at least. So go ahead and make that baby blue. We're gonna make this green. I'm going to make this one that sort of like orangish color. All right, we're going to add a text box. I think the text I had in here was a rather chaotic look back on 2020. And again, we're going to make that H1. And we're going to start adding our fonts. So for this project, I just explored really just, to be honest, there's some great websites out there that show you good font pairings. But I just kind of looked around here inside the platform until I found something that worked. So I really love DM Serif Display for our headings, and for our body was DM Serif Text. So go ahead and do that. And just to give it a little bit of character, we will underline chaotic because that is an understatement. So we're going to up this, I believe we're at 85. And I wanted it at 1. I wanted nice little. Nice. Okay, so let's start getting some assets in there. So what I mean by that is a really cool function of Vev 2 is our Lottie animation. So what I'm going to do, I might do that over again, but if you just search the add menu for Lottie, you'll find this. And what you want to do is drag the element onto your canvas. And then you're going to get an input. So this might be a little bit of advanced. Sorry, I'm gonna take a drink of water. So this might be a little bit advanced, but Lottie animations, basically what they are. Airbnb wanted to have a better way to do GIFs because they were just, the file size was just crazy, and they really wanted longer, more clean, crisp. So the aspect ratio kind of stays intact. So they developed what's called Lottie animations, and if you know After Effects, you can download a plugin which will kind of take that and create a Lottie. There's also marketplaces that you can find a lot of free Lottie animations and things like that. There's also premium packs that you can purchase online, or you can create your own. So what we did is we went to UI8 net. We got a few of those Lottie animations, so that's what I'm going to be working with today. And so I'm going to open up my file here that I have everything. Take it through. So you guys can kind of see which ones they are. This is a very eclectic, very interesting mix. I believe the one I wanted to start with was management, oddly enough. Yep. Great. So you're going to get three files in here. And I know this is kind of hard to see, but you're going to get the MP4 file. You can use videos, but just be really careful. If you use a ton of videos, it's just going to really affect the page speed. Lottie is way better. It's so much of a smaller file size. Like you're looking at 2.7 megabytes compared to 132 kilobytes. Like you can't even argue with that. So that makes it easy because all I need to do now is I'm going to take this over here and I'm just going to drop this file right here. Nice. And we have our cool looking rabbit guy with sunglasses. I have no idea. And we're just gonna mess with the sizing in here a little bit. Nice. And I'm actually gonna increase the width on that. And we have the start of our horizontal scrolling piece. So a few things with Lottie, just because I do want to cover this as well, because I feel like a lot of you who are using Lottie already, you probably know this, but if you are not, I highly recommend. It's an awesome way to really enhance any visual piece or any type of content you're trying to create. So Vev has a few fields in here that you can edit. So for instance, play animation when visible. That's just like it is now. When you load the page, it's already there. Animation on hover, on click, and scroll. Let us do our second scene. We're going to take our opening message that we're just going to take what Tina had written. I'm going to copy this text box and bring it down here. Copy and paste the message. Again, if you have a Google Doc, you can just do that. Make sure to get rid of the line break. I'm going to change my text to DM Serif. I'm going to go 22, I think. 1.4 is perfect. I'm actually going to change this to white. Great. And, you know, there's two ways of just doing this. You can either copy and paste the elements you're using and kind of just add the other ones that you want, or you can go to the add menu and do it that way. I'm a big fan of copy and paste. So this one's going to be different, and we're going to do I like the browse one for this one. Yeah, kind of a dog looking out into his browser window. Nice. All right. So I want to cover one thing with horizontal scroll, and that's really positioning. So anyone who's worked in Web before, you'll kind of see that we have the gutter lines, we like to call them, or the safety lines. And it's just how the browser kind of deals with responsiveness. And so the thing with horizontal scroll, though, is you have a little bit more room to play. You can be a little bit more creative. So I usually kind of say, like, I'm not going to follow these gutter lines anymore. I'm going to kind of just do my own thing. And you do want to be careful. You do want to make sure in the final piece you QA it and it works. But for instance, if I kind of sneak this a little bit over here, so let's see, like kind of go over there, I'll publish this. I also have a terrible habit of just publishing to see my pieces rather than in preview, which I know the team probably hates me for. So you can kind of see it kind of bleeds over there a little bit, exactly kind of where I want it to be. And I can even have it sit if I just kind of go over here. I should just preview from now on. I can actually have it get closer and closer. So this is what I'm saying, is like kind of experimenting with everything. So kind of mess around with the browser window. But you can get it. Yeah, there we go. So you can get things to sit on different sections. Again, it's not perfect. Visual building is always sort of a trial and error type thing. But it is really cool that you can achieve this effect with absolutely no code. So I'm going to bring this guy back over here. And we're going to continue building out our scene. We have our welcome message by Tina. And now we're going to start getting into our stats. So I'm going to take this one again. I'm going to come into here. And I just want to highlight everyone. This one was astonishing. It was an awesome stat to read. We had over 14,000 new projects in the platform this year. That was really awesome to hear. You guys have been truly busy. We're going to take this and we're going to add another Lottie animation. And I think we went with, oh man, which one did we go? Which one did we go with? I think it was brand, because it was, yeah. All right. Nice. And this one I'm going to make real big, make it a nice little scene. And again, just make sure, you guys know this, it's all layer based. So if you need to switch out your layers, just go ahead and do that. And you can kind of have that sit right on top of the bust, the head. Great. So let's go back here. Gonna republish. Nice. Okay. So just already showing you what we already have here. I mean, that took us what? I mean, 10 minutes maybe? Like that could take you 3 minutes if I'm being honest. That's kind of crazy. And again, like the MailChimp piece, it had a lot more going on. Don't get me wrong. But you can achieve a similar thing. You can actually, if you put in the design work, really at the end of the day, it's just creating those backgrounds and foregrounds and those elements, and then taking the layers out and kind of rebuilding it in Vev, or just building it in Vev from the get-go. All right, so let's see here. We have over 14,000 new projects. So I think the next one, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do something maybe a little bit more out there. So we're going to get rid of a lot of animation, and what I'm envisioning in my head is I want large text kind of scrolling through the screen as you pass it. So really want to make this like 2,000. And then I want to up this to, oh man, 200 maybe? Yeah, let's go 200, even bigger. Kind of do this to 2,500, yeah. So again, this is what I mean by trial and error. I'm gonna publish this, I'm gonna preview it, I'm gonna see how it looks and kind of what it's doing with the horizontal scroll, because there's gonna be a lot of like nitpicking I'm gonna have to do here. So this would be, I think what I said in it was what was made in Feb this year, ? And just upping the width again. And I feel bad for Vic right now, because this is probably not how I intended his horizontal section to be used, but or scrolling section to be used. But you make it, I'm gonna try to break it. So let's go through what this does. Nice, that's exactly what I wanted. So as you can see, you're not getting the full effect. It stops right there, just like a brick wall, just stops. So what I'll do is I'll add another section, copy and paste that section again. Oops. Get rid of this text. And so now we just have this blank, same background color, but blank section. So let's see what that did. Let's see how that's looking. Oh no, it doesn't do what I want it to do. I might have to come down on my text size and on my width, unfortunately. So yeah, this is one of those things, like I said, again, we still have to be considerate of the safety area. Our team, obviously they want the piece to be responsive. They don't want it to be breaking or not working. So I try to be a little bit more creative, or trying to be a little bit more playful with that. Oh, okay. Well, Vic says I need to reload the canvas, so let's see if he's right. Oh, you, sir, are correct. That works exactly like I wanted. Look at that. Beautiful. Love that. And that's just like one tip to be a little bit more creative with your setup. You don't have to just do scene after scene after scene. You can kind of use sections to kind of I wouldn't say MacGyver something together because you're kind of doing it, but it's cool that you can kind of accomplish that stuff. So, and what I wanted to achieve here, this is going to be the second part to this, is I wanted to have things kind of float through space, not just the text, but also other things. So I think in the last piece, what I did was I made a pseudo browser window. And so I'll show you just how to do that. Again, you can do this in any design platform or design tool you're currently using, or you can do it in Scratch and Vev. So I like to use if I'm doing shapes or something like that. I like to use a frame. So we have other shape tools, rectangle, we have circles, all that kind of stuff. But I kind of like just using a frame. I like to add a fill to it. We'll do a nice little, kind of like an off-white. And how do you make a browser window? Well, pretty simple. I am going to make this 400. This is going to be 30. Yeah. And again, just sitting, you can kind of see what I'm already doing, and I'll zoom in for everybody. And I guess I'm in a tutorial right now on how to deal with shapes. So let me do a quick tutorial on how to deal with shapes. But what I want to do here is I want to create a border radius. I want it to have that sort of, not material design look, but somewhat like that. So I'm going to go to border radius for this frame. I'm going to unlock these. So if you click the lock, it applies to everything. And as I come out, you can see I'm getting those little areas where I don't want. So I'm going to go back into border radius. I'm going to click unlock, and I'm going to add 0 and 0 here. So now what happens with that, again, I'm just going to zoom in way, way, way far, is I'm getting the border radius on the bottom, but not on the top, because I still want this to be like the tab window. So going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing, but only on the top this time. So unlock 5 and 5. For me, 5 or 10 tends to be the perfect number. Great. And we're getting like a little bit of space there, and I think I just come down a pixel. And for this one, I'm going to make it a dark gray, just like that. That is perfect. And now I can add my circles. So there's two ways to add circles. You can use the actual element here, and that gives you your circles. Another way to do it is to take a frame, go here, and add a border radius, change from pixel to percentage, and I think it's 50 or 100. And just make sure it's the same width and height, and you get the same effect, a circle. I would probably just use a circle, but that's one way of doing it. This is great for adding avatars. Sorry, I need another drink of water. This is great for adding avatars. So say you have a team page, and you want those avatar images to be a circular photo. You just take an image then, and you apply the same border radius, and boom, it's a circle. All right, so now we have our 3 dots, which is just looks like a browser window. I absolutely love this function because it makes my life so much easier. I'm going to take these. I am going to go up to here and say distribute horizontally, and it's just going to fix it for me. I'm also going to make them all the same width, so 10, 10, and try it one more time, and boom. I mean, I love that. Okay. So from here we have our browser window essentially. So let me see here. We have all of this. And so all of these, all of these, what is at least a frame with a decent border radius and a dial. Some design humor there for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all of these in the layer panel on the left-hand side, and you're going to group them. And just so you keep them all in the same place, and you just basically shift-click all of them and Apple G, and now we have a frame. That's just a grouping of everything. So you can see if we go down, you have all of these groupings. All right, so now we have our browser window, and I want a title in there. So I'm going to steal our paragraph from back up here. Again, if you're doing this as like a main project and really taking it to be a fully published piece, define all your headings, define all your body text earlier on. It's going to save you a ton of time. So I'm going to say in this one, oops, let's see here. What's the stat? I'm just going to keep my text there. Ooh, sorry. This is like what was made this year completely. So what was made this year? We had, oh man, I need to look back at the numbers, but it was like over, I mean, it was crazy. Like, I mean, say 8,000 visual stories, meaning like articles and for publications and editorial, and like the New York Times scrolly telling piece that you guys saw last week. It's crazy. A lot of people love our platform for that. Make that black. And I'm just going to mess with the... So here's a small other pro tip of the day. Actually, if you take this text, put it into the frame, now everything is grouped within that width. So if you just go back up to here and click on, I think a line horizontal, you should be able to do that. And then if you want to get really tricky with it, you can go to percentages, and you can have this be 60% align vertical, and in there, I want this to be a little bit bigger. I want this to be like 32, and same thing. I'm going to change it back to pixels. I'm going to go 300 pixels. And there we go. Nice. And now we have sort of these browser windows. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate these, kind of bring them down a little bit, kind of put one over here, put one over here. Oh, that is so nice. Who is that magical collaborator in there with me, dropping these buttons in there? All right, let's do that. Let's go into our frame again, go into here. Let's use these. Let's not use these gray old buttons anymore. So that's a really cool thing too, is you can have multiple people in a project and people helping you out along the way. Oh, if you origin middle on the text as well. That is a really, really good good shout. So one of the things too is, and we'll go over this as well in a future tutorial, I think, but if you see how the origin is coming here on the left-hand side, and we've had a lot of questions on this, we'll make sure to cover way more in depth. But if you're creating a frame like this, like a smaller component within the section, what you can actually do is you can click on the origin center here, and you can kind of see, there's not the line following me, but you can kind of see it. So it's coming from that center line now. And that just makes it the responsiveness easier. And that's great for things like menu items. It's great for things, really any element. Just to be able to assign your origins, you do have to play around with it a little bit. So just for time, I'm gonna add the color buttons to just that frame. Thank you for whoever dropped this in for me. And let's see what else. So we have, I'm gonna take this one, again, copy and paste, keep going. Oop. I think I messed that one up by accident. If you do mess up, Apple Z is your friend. And let's see what that looks like. I want to see, just because Vic warned me already, I'm going to refresh my canvas and check it out. All right, so we have this, and now we have this sort of like scrolling section. That is really cool. I love that. It's definitely the small things. It's definitely, man, just think about if you had to do that with code. Not only are you doing a horizontal section, you're having different elements kind of expand past the 100% width mark. That's so cool that you can just do that visually. All right, put that up there. Oh, we got some more frames here. Cool. So the one thing is we need to know where it ends though. So I'm going to add another section. I'm going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to add this to be a different color. I'm going to put this back to the baby blue. I'm also going to zoom back in so you guys can see everything. All right, so let's start from the top. Got that. What was made in Vev this year? We just made that section. So you can see it kind of, so it crosses over around that mark. So to be on the safe side, oh, I messed up actually. I made the wrong section, baby blue. There we go. And then this will be blue. And then we're gonna go here. We're gonna see what's going on. And there we go. So we get it to end right around here. I might add some more little frames. And the way you do that is you actually kind of come down here into this empty section, copy and paste a frame. And again, you just want to see like where it is, because you'll notice like the text will be here in the center. You just don't see it now because of the editor. So if we're refreshing the canvas. Cool. So we have some little bit of things to fix up here. And that just means I need to move this one. Again, always be careful of those safety lines. So I'm going to move this over here more. And then trial and error. Yeah, that's perfect. It's also cool because I haven't really seen that done in a piece before. Seeing elements of it, but it's cool. You can kind of just create on the fly, and you find out that's pretty original at the end of the day. All right, so let's keep going. I think, where are we at with time? Got about 20 more minutes, so we can do some more stats. This was a really cool stat. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to grab this. I'm actually just going to grab this entire section. Cool. We'll go back to baby blue for this. And this one, well, first I'm going to choose what animation we want. And I think I want the party one. Maybe not. Maybe that one. Yeah, let's do the practice one. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to change my Lottie animation again. Just drop the file in there. And now we got this guy running. Because what did you guys do with this year? There was over 100. Well, let's do this. Let's have fun with the copy. 100,000 how do we say this? Clicks on the publish button. What we'll do is we'll kind of make a different little layout. So we'll kind of place this guy up here, maybe make him a little bit smaller. And place this down here. Yeah. So what that means is that you guys clicked on literally this button over 100,000 times. Now, thankfully, I'm not counted in the data, so the way I do projects where I keep on clicking it wasn't counted. But if you guys do this, you know, this is really cool to see, whether it was project updates or it was, I mean, just previewing work or whatever. It was really cool to see that one button got so many clicks. So go ahead and publish that. And again, we'll take it from the top real quick just to see what everything's looking like. Oop, gotta wait for it to load. There we go. Keep going, keep scrolling. You guys saw this already a ton. And now we're in this new section. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Great. So I think really the rest of the stream will just be me copying and pasting. So I don't really want to continue that way. I think what might be a little bit better is just to stop and talk to you guys how a horizontal scroll can really add to your stories. There's a few key tricks of the trade I would consider if you want to do a horizontal scroll story. There's a few things you should take into consideration. One is sort of the design and the assets of it. It's really highly reliant on what you're working with, just like really any visual story piece. But I would say horizontal scroll even more so, because you're really designing it around scenes rather than anything else. So, I mean, I'll go back to kind of what we're doing. Oop. Yeah, so we can kind of see like each block, and you know how to do this. I kind of divided the sections up into different colors. Each kind of like color block is its own little scene. That lends well to what we're doing here with an annual report. But if you're doing something more, you know, there's 1,001 different ways you could use this format. If we're looking back at MailChimp, let's go look at the piece a little bit more. Oh, you know what? Maybe one last challenge is to show you guys how to get this little guy. That might be cool, pretty cool. It is, you know, I'll come back to this and I'll show you how they export it. But let's do a challenge. How do we get this guy? Can we make a fixed character on Vev travel through our screen? I think we can, and we can do it pretty easily. If someone in chat knows what I'm about to do, let me know. If basically the challenge is, how do I get an element on the canvas to stay with me traveling all the way through the horizontal scroll page? If you have any ideas, go ahead and chat and let me know. So I'm actually going to take another Lottie animation. And I had prepped for this because I was considering doing it. Now this illustration does not in line with anything else we saw at all, but it's kind of cool to see. So I just wanted a guy walking like this. All right, so what I'm going to do, very simply, is I'm going to pin this person to the page. I'm going to go up here and click on pin position. And what you're going to see is we have page content, and the minute I did that, it automatically went to pin content. And what that means is that stays absolutely on the page. Oh, shoot. Good. Yeah, actually really good. Sticky position may work as well. What else are other people saying? If you want it to walk across, then maybe add animation add-on to fixed or sticky element. Oh, interesting. Other people got some maybe sticky position is the way to go, or pin. Well, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. So that was a really good guess. Sticky position is used a ton, and a lot of that is used for regular scrolling websites. It's weird to say that, horizontal scroll and regular vertical scroll. But that's because as you scroll down the page, you kind of want things to follow you and then to stop following you. Kind of this, we want it to stay with us. I'll refresh my canvas and preview it. So let's see what this did. We got this guy, and that is pretty cool. That just makes it a little bit more immersive. I think that's really, really cool that you can just, it's like you're the person traveling through space. Yeah, I don't love how that illustration is completely different, but we're working with what we got right now. So let's see what we got in chat. I would rather pin. Sticky position lets you stick from X to Y, but we are moving horizontal. I think sticky position would have worked if we're kind of also recreating this maybe on a regular section. Nice. All right, so that is cool. We just got our little character. Now, I do want to say, take in mind, we're not coding. There was no code being done. And there's some things in the MailChimp you can already see. There's some things kind of popping up that we can't really do. So if I scroll forwards, he goes forwards. If I scroll backwards, he goes backwards. Nothing comes to mind to me to accomplish this. I think in our piece, the person just scrolls. There we go. Just scrolls back and forth like this. So that's another challenge. If somebody in chat or somebody building out there can, there's an animation tool or something like that. Like you'd have to show two different versions. I don't know. But if that's a challenge, if you guys can do it, show us it in the Discord. Great. So there's some other things you guys can see. Like we have narrating throughout. Yeah, to make not the character stop walking, but to have the character walk backwards with you. And I don't know, to me, that's two different animations. One animation of the person walking forward, and this is all done via scroll. And that's where I think it's a little bit tough. So is it a show hide thing, or is it it's kind of breaking my brain right now. I'm not exactly sure how we accomplish that. Yeah, that would be, so like flipping the animation would work. Yeah, we want to try to do this with no code. The cool thing with Vev is if you want to do something like that, you can get a developer friend or whoever is on your team just to help you with that one thing, because you've done 90% of it. You don't need them to do the environment and the whole horizontal scroll. You just need them to do that one thing, which is obviously that saves so much time. So we got about 10 more minutes, but I do want to show you, because one of the cool things is if you're looking at it through this lens, you're having a person walk through space through the horizontal scroll. You're having them narrate the piece, so they're obviously kind of talking up through these little pop-ups, and you can actually do that. So if you want, that might actually be a challenge too if you want him to speak. What you can do is you can have things fade in. So it's kind of annoying now because this guy is just going to chill here as we kind of edit our piece. So I'm actually going to go to pin content and just toggle him off while I edit. I'll toggle back on. I'll toggle him back on. So here's a good example. So if I want this to animate, all I have to do is go to my animation tool. And again, I apologize. This might be an advanced function, maybe not, but all you have to do is go to the add menu, add an animation, and we're just going to do load animation and load. We're going to go slide in. Or no, we want slide in from left. We're going to say left, but we're going to make it right. So I think instead of negative 300%, we're actually going to go, I think 20. Yeah. So sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing. So if I go 20, it goes from right. If I go negative 20, it goes from left. So I'll just do 20. And 0.6 is great. I like to add a little bit of delay because I like the animation to happen when you kind of settle in a little bit, not directly right when that section kind of goes in. So again, I just added one animation, right? If you guys don't know this trick, definitely learn it. I love it. What does this do? It duplicates your animation or copies your animation. I'm going to go to, which frame was that? I'm just going to move this frame up so I can keep this organized. I'm going to go to all these other frames that I have, and I'm going to shift select, and I'm just going to click on this paste animation add-on. And that, you can see, just gave me all the same animations on all those frames. I have some other ones down here, I believe. Yeah, I got these two. I'm going to duplicate there. Nice. I'm going to refresh. Let's go here. Nice. And now we have this just animate in, just to give it that extra little something. I will say I'm a huge fan of micro interactions. I really think they make or break a website. I think those little tiny interactions that are so subtle that you don't particularly notice, otherwise known as maybe interaction design, those are the ones that really count at the end of the day. I absolutely love that. And that's why I mean, Vev just makes it so easy. It's just like you can just do it with the animation tool. All right. I know, right? Yeah. It, man, that when I found that one out, I was so happy. That one, and I think the two that I use most frequently is, so the paste animation tool is one of the ones I use most frequently, and then the align vertical, align horizontal. If I'm doing something like that browser window, it just saves a ton of time. All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to take any more of your time. We kind of went over the hour mark, but I appreciate you guys sitting with me and again learning horizontal scrolling. It's been really fun. We'll share everything out. Thank you, secret collaborator, for making my visible guy. But we'll share this on YouTube so you guys can go through at your own pace, and definitely share your projects on Discord. We'd love to see them. So, all right. Cheers, guys.